What's good, everybody? What is good? It's Big Game James here, man. We back in the building. It's been a long time, but you know how we do. We talk about coming every week, but things happen, life happens, everything happens. But guess what? We back here. We doing our thing, and it's my guy Mike White for Burgers and Blitzes. We're gonna have a good time talking about some Cowboys football. And what's good, dog? How you been doing, man?
Busy as hell, man. I quit my job and ain't ever worked harder. It's been it's been nonsense. 10-hour days, 12-hour days, working night shift, just doing whatever I can, man. It's been fun. Honestly, it's been good for the mentals. But you know,
Hey, well, you know what? That's always good for the mentals. This is good for my mentals. Us meeting up and talking some Cowboys football. A lot of things been going on. Not really crazy, been things been going on, but actually the draft happened. We actually haven't really been talking since that time, on the show wise. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the draft, a little bit about the schedule, opening up with Tom Brady again. Some guys, I said we were having an off discussion. We had to save it, talking about I think Micah Parsons is slowly becoming the new face of the franchise. Before anything else, let's talk about rookie camp. Had just came out here. What's up to everybody? Chris K, T Smooth, Lord Nova. Keep on coming in the building. If I haven't said your name, you know what it is. But let's talk about a little bit about the draft that just came up. The schedule just came out. What do you think about opening up with Tampa Bay again? I told myself again, and I felt like if we're just talking about the game, I feel like it's a 0-1 until we've been proven otherwise about Tom Brady. We Dallas hasn't beat him in I don't know how long. I don't think they have beat him since I've been here. And I just feel like the trend is going to continue. What's your thoughts about that?
I feel like there's a lot of projection, but I know that we know how Dallas goes, so I get your point on that. But football in itself, from year to year, is such a fugazi. They lost some guys. Tom Brady came back, but man, how it's honestly impressive. It sucks because he's a fake nice guy, and I hate everything about him. But how does he keep doing it? I mean, we know how he keeps doing his HGH, but he just keeps going. We've been calling the dude Wash. We've been calling him retired for 10 years now, and he went and won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I think it's a hell of a matchup, and I thought they were going with the Rams just to try to fill that stadium up. That's where I really thought, and quite a few people who were really tied into things thought they were going. Um, I love the matchup. Honestly, I like the week 2 matchup even more because that's something else.
Yeah, it's going to be something else. But as I said before, until Cowboys really start beating quality teams, to me, it's still going to be the same thing. They got to show us different, dog. I mean, with too many times I've seen us get right there, don't win. And I'm not saying we haven't been quality teams, but you know what I mean. And
I
especially with the
mean,
Tom Brady, I need to see it. And I just feel like it's going to be
I
the same thing.
am I am like probably the last person to make excuses for this fucking mediocre franchise, but they were honestly a Tom Brady penalty away from winning that week 1 matchup last year.
Right. You true. Like I said, it's true. But at the end of the
That
day, they still lost. You feel me? And
I,
that's
I mean, at the end of the day, talent acquisition is a 24/7 process.
I mean,
No, no,
as
they they had that game, and that's what's frustrating. Is this team has had those games,
mm,
and somehow, some way, whether it be the quarterback or the DB or a penalty or the coaching staff or something has kept them from winning those crucial games, and it's
right.
it's just so frustrating. It's just such a gut punch, man. It's such a gut punch, and I I think they got this one. That I really do. I really do. Like Tampa Bay's a tired team. They've been through some stuff. I mean they played obviously longer than Dallas has. I and then year from year, a lot of stuff changes. Like why are people all of a sudden penciling Cincinnati into the AFC Championship game? AFC Championship, the AFC conference in general is a nuclear arms race right now. Those dudes they got everything going over there. So there's
Well,
that.
I mean, I
Sorry.
don't disagree with no, I ain't trying to cut you off. I don't disagree with you with that. But at the end of the day, it could be different, but it's got to show me different. Just like it could be different with the season. It could be something different, but it's been shown to me the same way. And until I can see that, I'm gonna go this route. If it does come, then we'll gradually my mind will open up to see more things. But right
I'm in
now,
the
as
same
I see
spot.
it, you feel me?
I'm in the same
It's
spot.
a
I've never been more apathetic about this team as like a knowledgeable sports fan. Like before, I was like when you're a kid, you see them and you do this and you do that. But when you start learning about sports, I've never been more apathetic about a season than I am this one. What gives me hope is I know that Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott are going to do everything in their power to make this team an actual team. Lead from the front, not front runners, not scared to
Mhm.
get hit in the mouth, tuck their chin and move forward and work down that heat. And this team has been a bunch of front runners, and it's been that way for quite some time. You know, Lawrence is a damn good player. He's not a leader. We've been talking about that since I think our first podcast, and it's not a shot at him. You know, you don't put that on people's shoulders if that's not if that's not their cut of their jib. You know,
Well, that
and
well, I mean, that's been the thing though. They've been trying to do that for a very long time. I feel like they've been trying to find that defensive guy that can really be like how they had Sean Lee. Everybody was used to Sean Lee being that guy and being that leader. Well, Sean Lee was gone. And when DeMarcus Lawrence had that phenomenal year when he got the 14 and a half sacks, he was that emotional guy because the play. But just because the play is doing it doesn't mean you're the verbal leader of the
no,
team. You get what I'm saying? And
the same thing around.
I feel like that's what happened. You just like what you said with Romo. I feel like that's happens with players. Some players are really, really good physically and can be a dog on the field, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're the leader. We've seen it time and time again in football teams, basketball teams, sports in general, that the best player isn't always the team captain. The best player is, or the top player on the defense or offense isn't always the team captain or the team leader. So that was a thing that I feel like was forced on him. I feel like Micah Parsons is more of a natural leader as far as what he brings to the table, how he knows how to talk. Not saying no, I talk, but you know how he knows to talk with the
I get
media,
you. I get you.
you get what I'm saying. And I just feel like he knows how to people. If he jumps in that huddle, he knows how people. Hey, when he gets in the huddle, and he starts talking. His players talking, but I feel like he has the personality where people like, I'm riding for you, dog. I feel like
Dude,
he
that
has that type of
like
personality.
20-year-old kid look at you in the huddle and say, "Hey, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up." And that's you need that. You need that in the locker room. You need that in a huddle. You need that. You need or talk them up. Talk them up. Don't be worried about your numbers. Don't be worried about how you're going to get paid. Don't be worried about this. Worry about winning this game. Winning the
Mhm.
game. How do we win this game? And with Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons on each side of the ball, I feel like we have two guys that will do anything in their power to win that game. And
Yeah.
we haven't had that. We haven't had that since Aikman and Woody, in my opinion.
Well,
Not not a true leader on both sides of the ball.
Well, it's going to be health is going to be the key as well for this defense. But I'm gonna get a
Yes,
couple of these questions out. One from my guy for Perrier. Hey ho for the $2 holler. John Jones for the $2 holler. Appreciate you as well. But there was a question prior to that about the same thing, pretty much with Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, he gives the $2 donation, says it's going to surprise people. And we had the question from Chris K asking, how do you feel about Tyler Smith? I'm gonna let you kind of go ahead because I've already kind of talked about him, and I'll kind of
hmm
just bounce off your kind of answer with it because I already have my thoughts about him. What's your thoughts
I'd
about
be
Tyler
lying
Smith?
if I'd be lying if I didn't kind of do fart noises with the pick. But once again, that's another guy who ain't scared to get hit in the mouth, tuck his chin, and work forward. He's already working with Duke. He's been working with Duke since damn near the day after draft day. The same thing with Terrence Steele. Everybody hated Terrence Steele. Everybody want to throw him in the garbage. Now he's going to be your start right tackle. I'm not saying that was a good plan, but the man put the work forward to make that happen. And I feel the same way about Tyler Smith. He's not like he may be limited by talent at the end of the day, but he's not going to just half-ass this. He's in. He's in.
Well,
And
well, keep going, keep going.
I don't know what else you want from a player. Like, is there somebody else they could have picked? Sure. Do you know if that guy's going to work out? Hell no. We hadn't played a snap in 2022 yet. Like every pick that somebody made could be the best pick or the worst pick on the face of the planet. We don't know yet, but we know what the Cowboys' history of traveling off the beaten path hasn't always panned out. We talked about that with Joseph last year when I was getting lit up about that, but that's a different, obviously way different conversation. That's the only thing that worries me is they kind of traveled off the beaten path. And when people around the league are kind of scratching their head at the pick, it makes me worry. But when I see the man immediately go to work, that's what it is. I don't feel too strongly either way. Honestly, I hate the fence ride because that's not my jam. But how can you say the man can't play or can play when he literally hasn't taken an NFL snap?
Well, see, that's what I talk about with the people. How it's funny how the Cowboys gamble on those type of picks, but they won't gamble in free agency. They won't step out in the water and say, we're going to pay some money because you're cheap. You don't want to pay some money for a proven player who's done it, been 4 or 5 years in the league, shown you he can do that, and he's well worth it. But since you want to be cheap, you want to do the gambling through the draft with an unproven player. This is an unproven player in Tulsa. Yes, I love the nastiness. I've seen the tape. I love how he's nasty, but we can't sit there and say he's a finished product and putting him out there possibly saying he's going to be a week 1 starting left guard and you're possibly transitioning him to left tackle, what they're talking about saying. I'm not saying I don't like the pick, but what I'm saying is I feel like there's a lot more work that needs to be done. And I've already said, and I'm going to say this to you, Joe Philbin, to me, has the big spotlight on him because when I look at okay, well, there it is. So if you're saying he's trash, then
he's trash.
You're not feeling good about Tyler Smith because he's got to develop under Joe Philbin because
that's what sucks. That's what sucks, man. Like Joe Philbin, exactly. he's Monty Kiffin. He's old and sleepy and outdated. I hate it. Yeah. I hate that he's still here. I hate it. Very, like, deep inside my heart, that's the one dude I thought they were going to clear out. And he's still here.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I mean. So, this could be his last season because we don't know what's going to happen with McCarthy in the season. Could be a lame duck season. But the problem is you got Matt Faranock, you got Josh Ball, you got Tyler Smith, you got Matt Walatsko.
I call him let's go.
Well, let's go. I mean, but at the end of the day, you got 6 guys that have been really picked at the offensive line in 3 drafts, and who has really proven anything besides Tyler Smith? I mean, Terrence Steele, and it was really more so we hear from the development of Duke Mayweather, not from Joe Philbin.
Exactly. Well, and that's also a sidebar. Like with the CBA, we talk about this with quarterbacks all the time. You and I do. With the CBA and then there's time restrictions they have where they can actually work with their coaches on their team. The most important thing any professional NFL player can have is a private coach who knows what the hell he's talking about. And Duke does. And Duke's been working with Baez, and we're talking about Tyler Smith, this, that, and the other. I'm worried about Dak Prescott not having an NFL caliber center.
Okay, well, let's go to this. Let's go to that center spot right now. Tyler Biadasz. I said that a lot of people are saying, well, he needs to get stronger, this and that. They drafted him to be the next Travis Frederick because he comes from Wisconsin. We obviously know, but they drafted the kid from Matt. What I just say his name was
Well,
Faranoak, and he
I
did
call him Waletzko. It's
no,
like
no, not
Waletzko.
no,
It's like,
no, 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 not Willetsko. Matt
oh,
Faranock from Nebraska.
oh, fair
He
enough.
played. He
Yeah.
started. He's played in that last game against Philadelphia. He didn't look that bad. His feet look good. He was hitting the second level. I like, and he's got some good size as far. He's like 6'6". I mean, he's not a short guy as well. So and they just drafted. Well, they got the Lindstrom kid from Boston College in undrafted, rookie free agency. So, what do you kind of think about that competition going there? And I said this before you finished. We talked about this, I believe, with Connor McGovern, where his dad continues to say his best position is center, and that's what
Connor
he should
McGovern
be
won't be
playing.
on this team in September.
I know. Well, and that's sad because y'all saved him for these couple years protecting them from draft picks or people poaching them.
Yeah.
Now you're just going to get rid of them. I feel like that's another wasted pick. That's a wasted pick.
I don't disagree, and it's frustrating. And people like, offensive line in the first round is a boring pick, but offensive line in the first round is a safe pick. Boring is good sometimes, and this team really is really good at picking offensive linemen in the top 50. I'm going to go ahead and stress that first round. If you a couple round, couple 10. So that center with Baez, he was bad at his checks. He got put on his heels on every run play, and a lot of the Connor Williams holds, obviously, were part of him not doing his job correctly. And somebody leaking right through the B gap, and he's trying to deal with that too, because that dude straight up got bullied, and I'm worried about that, because it as important as a quarterback is to your win probability and this, that, and the other, if you don't have a high level center who can sit there in the middle of your offense, call your checks, snap that ball properly, and hold up the interior of that offensive line, you're cooked. You're cooked. We watched it versus San Francisco, where they gave up 25 pressures in one game. Like, I don't care if you got Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Steve Young and Cam Newton all formed into one Voltron back there at quarterback. If your 5-man OL can't hold up a 4-man front, you're cooked. You're cooked. And I'm still worried about that. And I got faith in Duke, but at the end of the day, your talent is what it is. There's only so much you can do with what you're given. I'm like, hell, I'm trying to find an analogy, but you can't, just because you're 6'5" and 310 pounds doesn't mean you're, Tyron Smith. It's just the way it is. I'm worried about the top end of his ability. And are we there?
I'm just worried. I'm personally just worried about the development. I feel like talent is there across the line that they have brought in these last 3 drafts on the offensive line. I feel like the talent is there, but you got to develop it. You got to develop it rapidly, and a lot of people are down. I remember in 2020, I was down on Joe Philbin, and some people came at me like, "Oh, he did a good job." I'm like, "No, he didn't, because see, this is all he did. He moved Zach Martin from a right guard to a tackle position.
Got him hurt.
Hold up. But the thing is, we never seen Jason Garrett and them never do anything, right? So that's what that's what the ballyhoo people were like, oh, well, Joe, look what Joe Philbin did. He made a smart move that organization would have never did with Garrett. He moved Zach Martin and played tackle and this and that. He was getting more credit, in my opinion, than he deserved with that, because I didn't see no development along that line. And Terrence still got whooped. Now, Terrence still played better, but once again, it's been heard more from Duke Mayweather than Joe Philbin. So that's why I said the blast is on him, because he's got to really develop these guys if they want to do something, because the offense has taken a little step back. because
Mhm.
you don't have a Amari Cooper. Yes, okay. And Michael Gallup is going to be out probably the first month of October. And you're coming in with the third stringer that we do like, but he's unproven. James Washington, he was a second round pick, but he hasn't done anything in Washington. I mean, in Pittsburgh. And then Simi Fehoko, you trying to do all this goofy ass H back to hybrid tight end. You're trying to do all the goofy stuff. You brought back Noah Brown. He's not anybody that's scaring anything. So do you understand what I'm saying? It's
But
there's
we still have to see on Twitter how much help does Dak need. You know, we got an
Dak
unproven
still
tight
got to
end.
prove.
We got
Okay, but
unproven wide receivers. We're
right, we
hoping
do.
that CeeDee Lamb could hopefully maybe show some sort of what he was supposed to be.
I mean, this is still a big year for this offense and Dak. For real. Kellen Moore, all of them. Because a lot of people say, my Amari Cooper, Dak's numbers were okay. We remember the 2016, but when Amari Cooper came, that's when his numbers sped it up. Now we want to see without Amari Cooper there. At least I do. I'm not saying Dak's not proven, but I still want to see. I still need to see Dak take another level. I need to feel like Dak still needs to take another step because I feel like he has plateaued
As he should. As he should. He's getting more knowledge and
I
and
mean, it's year 6.
I wouldn't wish his last 2 years on almost my worst enemy by what he went through with his brother and his grandma and the injuries. Like my man's was tired. And then we go out in San Francisco trying to win a wild card game, and your 5-man OL lets up 25 pressures. And then when he finally gets a chance to make a play, he throws a bad pass. It's just, God, it just hurt. It hurt. It hurt to watch. It hurt. That last season hurt, man. And it hurt me. It hurt me in my heart. And this is massive. This year is massive. If they come out 1-5 or something like that, I don't know what's going to happen. Outside of McCarthy be fired. I know that.
Who would be the coach? Interim coach.
Quinn. I mean, Jerry. I mean, they've already told you that. That ain't no secret. They told you that. I just really, 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 I'm really worried about this alpha. Ever since Frederick retired, I've been worried about the interior offensive line and the interior defensive line. I've been worried about the interior defensive line since Ratliff tried to beat up Jerry Jones and Colombo pieced him up in the hallway.
But hold up. But you can't tell me, Mike, though, you don't feel a lot better about this defense now.
Defense doesn't go from year to year. Not here. It does on good teams. We're not a good team. And
I know we're not a good team, but
the Ravens had a top 15 defense for like the last 2.5 decades. Ravens, New England, Houston, Seattle, Minnesota, Denver, San Francisco. Like everybody likes to say defense doesn't, replicate from year to year. Yet you got, 10 or so teams that somehow put out a high level defense every single year.
But
every single year.
But right now, in my opinion, when we look at last year, I was saying the offense was ahead of the defense, and the defense was going to have to come into its own. And now I feel like this year it's flipped. The defense is what the Cowboys are going to have to rely on, and especially in these early games. Now, I said the Cowboys are going to end at 12-5. I just did a schedule thing last night, and I said they were going to be 12-5. But early in the season, they were going to find some problems. At the end of the year, when I look at the schedule, I felt like they're going to roll off about 8 or 9 wins just because of the schedule, and I felt like they could beat these teams. When I just looked at them. I mean, I could pull it up, and I feel like you kind of would agree with me if you look at these teams.
No, I mean,
if you look at it early,
I feel kind of mad about schedules. I mean, there's so much that's going to happen in between here and October and September. But looking
if
at
we're
it now,
looking at it now, though, you get what I'm saying from afar.
I like getting Tampa Bay and Cincinnati out of the way
Right,
right off the
right.
jump,
We get a lot of those guys kind of early.
and you get
After
the
they play Green Bay, after the week 10 they play Green Bay, it's pretty much, in my opinion, smooth sailing. They can pretty much win
when's
all them
our
damn
when's
games.
our when's our bye this year? We have an early bye again.
It's like week 7 because I think we play the Bears and the Detroit Lions, and then we go to the bye. And I feel like
Another
after we
early
go on the
bye.
bye in the week, yeah,
That's my issue. Now you're looking at 13 games,
yeah.
13 games
Well,
straight. Same thing
people are
we hit
asking.
last year.
I'm gonna just pull it up because people are asking. I'm gonna just give them what I was saying yesterday about it. Hold on, because I'm gonna just give what I was saying yesterday about it with this schedule. And yes, I said that the Cowboys would split with Philadelphia. I don't care if people hate on me because they
It's
play.
it's
And I
division games, man. It's always weird. Division games are always weird.
well,
But you do have
I said
Dak, and he smoked the NFC East every time he's got a chance outside. When Philadelphia beat him in 19 when he had a busted shoulder, and Amari Cooper decided he wanted to stay on the sideline instead of get out there and be a dog.
I mean, yeah, we got Dak Prescott, but if we're looking, like I said, when we play the Philadelphia Eagles, is right after the Rams. I feel like they lose at the Rams, and it's a very tight, close game, one of them heartbreaking games. And I
Rams are
feel like,
cooked.
okay, well, whatever. You can say they're cooked. That's your opinion. I'm not saying they're going to be. I'm not saying they're coming back and being world beaters. I'm saying Dallas is going to lose that game. In my opinion, it's not going to be a blowout. I feel like it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an emotional game, and because they lose in that emotional game, they're going right back at Philly on a night game. I feel like Philly will be raucous and pulls like an upset. Right after that, they play Detroit and Chicago. I feel like they beat both of those teams. They have the bye. And listen what I'm saying, Mike. They play at Green Bay. I say they beat Green Bay. Somebody in there asked me, are they beating Green Bay? Yes, I feel like they're going to put maybe an upset. I feel like they're beating Green Bay. The defense goes on a roll. They play at Minnesota, win. Giants, win. Indianapolis, I feel like it's a win. Houston, win. At Jacksonville, win. Come back, beat Philly, win. Then they lose at Tennessee, and then they beat Washington at Washington. I think that's rather reasonable. I think that's very right.
We can beat Tennessee. We just got to keep convincing Mike Vrabel that Derrick Henry is the key to
That's
their
going to be a
success.
tough game, though. To me, at Tennessee, they're gritty, grimy. They play slapping them out football. I feel like the Dallas
They don't have
Cowboys.
AJ Brown anymore.
I don't care. I feel like they still have an attitude with Vrabel. It's in Tennessee. They're going to be crazy.
Yeah,
It's the end of the year.
it's a hard head rock eater mindset
Yeah,
that if we want to go out there and play the game we play, and CeeDee Lamb takes a step that he's supposed to be taking, that he should have taken last year, and if he takes that step, you know, I think we take, I think we got, it's not going to be as close as what people think. Tennessee's weird, man. Like Mike Vrabel's probably the most overrated coach in the league right now. That dude Tannehill gets him to the playoffs, and then he buys into the King Henry hype and gets bounced in consecutive years.
I think
I
he's
don't.
a good coach.
I
do.
I mean, I guess the bar is pretty low, so I guess yeah. I mean, Pete Carroll still got a job.
Okay, well, as I said, I feel like we're gonna lose that game. If they win it, great. But Dallas, when they go on those long winning streaks and they play like a physical team or it gets something like that, I feel like they read the press a little bit and then they come down to earth sometimes. And I feel like this is one of those games. So as I said, I think we will win the first two.
I mean, this team does have a bad problem with smelling its own. They have a bad problem with that. And
see, and when people say, go ahead.
That's my hope tying back into the Parsons and Dak is that's two people that I believe don't put their fart CPAP machine when they go to sleep at night. They're not the greatest, they prove it. And if 30 other people on this roster pick up that mentality, you're looking at hell, that guy could go out there and play like Dilfer and they could get that early 2000s Baltimore Super Bowl, because you just need that mindset. We need, like We need more dogs. It's simple. And that's the one thing that I appreciated about the old Mustard Tiger since he's hired on is when we make a draft pick, I don't feel like we're taking, for lack of better words, Rudy Poo candy asses. We still have this, the second round flying, and I guess that's always going to be a thing. And that's another conversation. But outside of that, feel like we got dudes that are ready to show up and go to work and ain't scared of hard work. And this team's been a lot of front running, a lot of soft, overly. But when the shit gets deep, like when Chicago showed up, it was 32, and you get hit. We saw what old boy did.
Your internet's getting fuzzy.
We saw it. Now I got. We back?
You back, but he's just kind of fuzzy right now. Hold on.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
No, you good.
Their router just crapped out. So, all right. Yeah, that's, and it can change in an off season. I feel like they're actively trying to change.
Go out and come back in.
Baby back, but
all right. Go out and come back in. All right, so I'm gonna wait till because I think he's somewhere. I don't think he's at the crib, so I'm gonna see him come back in. But just kind of my thoughts about it. When we're talking about just the team in general, and just even with the Cowboys, this offensive line, I feel like the offense is taking a step back. I like Jalen Tolbert. I like that draft pick. They got some sneaky guys. You want to see what TJ Vasher is going to do? I'm going to do a video on him. But there's a lot of openings, but there's a lot of question marks, man. And especially with that offensive line and Joe Philbin, in my opinion, he's the biggest question mark that's out there. And he's got to do it. If he doesn't get this offensive line together and these draft picks, I feel like it's going to be a real disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. If this offensive line doesn't come out, Joe Philbin's gone by November.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they got to figure this. They got to figure this out all the way, in my opinion. Because if they don't, it's going to be. I see 12-5 because of the teams that playing. They say they got one of the easiest schedules, and I feel like that's the reason why they're going to have maybe the little bumps in the road early. Like I said, with Tampa and Cincinnati, I got them going 0-2 in the very beginning because Dallas still needs to prove they beat those tough teams. I feel like they're
taking one of those. They're taking one of those games. I don't know which one, but I know this team. They're taking one of those games. Maybe not two. They're taking one.
If they take one, I'm gonna give them Cincinnati. Okay, I'm gonna give them the Cincinnati game. If they take one, I feel like that's the game they can win because I feel like everybody's hyping Cincinnati now, like they're gonna just steamroll the AFC, and it's not gonna happen like that. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna come back down to earth. So that's a game where I feel like the Cowboys, and it's in Dallas. So I feel like that if you're gonna say they'll split one of those, that's the game I'll give them.
Choking the Super Bowl is hard, man. Choking the Super Bowl is hard. We see what it does to teams. We see what it does. It broke Atlanta. Atlanta should have broke that thing down when they gave up.
But I'm not. Atlanta always be choking in something, man. They just now started winning.
Well, that's because Matty Ice.
Okay, well, when they went to the Super Bowl last time, when they had Chris, who was that quarterback back in the day?
Oh hell, man, you're going way back. Oh,
well, they was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were. What the hell?
Chris Miller? Was it Chris Miller? Was it? What was a quarterback?
That sounded like a basketball player.
I remember Chris Miller because he was a pretty good quarterback, I believe, but he kept on getting concussions. I can't remember his name.
Man.
But in Jamal Adams,
that's
the Dirty Birds, all them.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm not hyping up Tampa Bay. I'm just saying they're just gonna beat us. That's all. Chris Chandler. Yes, that's it. Chris Chandler. That's who it is.
Shout out to the chat, man. Names are
Shout
hard,
out to
man.
yes. Shout out to Justin T.
Names
Shout
are
out to
hard. You
Justin
names,
T.
dude. I have even worse luck with years. I'm sitting here after Google when DeMarcus Lawrence was drafted. 6 times a year because
I mean, it is what it is. But let's talk about something right quick, big dog, because me and you were
yes, sir.
saying, and I've been throwing this out there that Micah Parsons has been the who of everything since they've drafted him. We saw he come off with his rookie season. The talent is undeniable. I think he's going to be even better year 2. He's going to continue to trend up, but he's also good off the field as far as him giving interviews, speaking for the boys. A lot of people just want to have him out there, and I said he's slowly becoming the new face of the franchise over like Dak Prescott. And I'm sticking with it. You said, wait, not so much. But you kind of give me your thoughts on it because I feel like that's where it's headed. Because a lot of people don't have the love for Dak like a lot of people were like didn't say we love the Parsons pick, but once he's been here, it hasn't been the determined like Dak has gotten from the fan base since Michael Parsons has been in the league.
Okay, so I think we're talking about two different things here. The face of the franchise, as far as Micah Parsons putting his marketability out there and getting the sponsorships and doing the interviews and stuff like that, as Dak has taken kind of a back seat to getting his mentals right, getting his health right, and getting his life right. And he has had that opportunity. And Dak's already done all that. The face of the franchise, I think I agree with, because he's the new hot ticket, and the NFL, and by and large, loves names. That's not a shot at him whatsoever, because he's deserved every bit of it. But as far as the heart of this franchise, that's Dak Prescott.
I'm gonna say
all
the
day, every
heart.
day.
I'm gonna say the heart of the team is still Dak, but like I said, the man that they're gonna speak on right now is like I feel like is this one.
Because I mean, how couldn't you? The man came out there his rookie year and put shit on NFL film that flat out was not there on NCAA film. We talked about it. I hated the pick. We talked about they were talking about taking him, and I hated it. It hurt me. I thought they were going to stick him an inside linebacker and just ruin a top pick. Turns out Dan Quinn had a plan for him. Puts him at safety, puts him at inside linebacker, puts him at edge, lined him up at one tech, lined him up at DT, lined him up at cornerback, blitzes him off the slot, blitzes him off the inside, blitzes him off the edge. That made that player show what he could truly be. That player, Micah Parsons' rookie year, is not on NCAA film anywhere. You can go look at a 2-minute highlight reel where there may be 2 or 3 of those plays, but not that. He wasn't lining up in the slot and flanking Galloway. He wasn't lining up in the slot flanking Rondale Moore. He didn't line up in the slot and come off the blitz and smoke Kyler Murray. That wasn't there. And we saw that his rookie year. So he deserves every bit of accolade that comes his way. And I'm very, very excited the fact that we have 2 true leaders on both sides of the ball for the first time since Aikman and Woody. That's how I feel.
I mean, that's all good, but I don't feel like it's going to take us over the hump this year. We'll see, maybe past that. But let's get this question right here from Donald Asbury Jr. How many questions Kelvin Joseph, aka Bossman Fat, going to be suspended? Do you think?
That stuff's still tied up in court. It's still tied up in court. We don't know yet.
Well, you hear Dan Quinn. He doesn't really even speak too much about Kelvin Joseph. He's very vague.
I was called racist for doubting the pick when we took him because I knew about the kid off the field.
I said the same things, and they said I was Uncle Tom, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. So he missed rookie camp because he caught COVID rocking the stage in Little Rock.
I
That's
mean,
when he missed rookie camp, and then what has he? I mean, he's a good player. I'm not going to lie. I got film out there that shows he's a good player. He's out there sealing the edge versus freaking
Washington. I mean, he played
Washington. Yeah,
Philly.
yeah.
I mean,
But the
here's the
fact is,
thing. Go
we
ahead.
don't know. We don't know. The NFL does what it wants, and the way I see it, if Deshaun Watson's not getting suspended for having 20 plus sexual assault allegations, Kelvin Joseph doesn't have any charges, hasn't been accused of anything. I think he owned the car or some shit like that the dudes were driving. Maybe three. I don't maybe none. I really it's it's really all up in the air right now, man. Like unless they find if they find that gun, that'd be a different story. They ain't found the gun. And it's shitty to say, I don't the whole situation makes me sick of my stomach, to be honest, because why are you even there in the first place? What are you doing? Why were you doing what you were doing? But I don't know. I don't think he catches any. I really don't.
I don't think if you're going by the way the league has done it lately, there should be a suspension, especially if there's been no conviction. There's been
Because
nothing.
they took away the Article 34 with the new CBA. The Article
Right,
34, they got Zeke.
right, right.
They
So
don't
they
have that
can't
anymore.
right. So
We're
they can't
Roger.
use that.
We're Goodell's the judge, jury, and executioner. They don't
Right,
have that anymore.
right.
So I think that changes things, and I think that's the reason Deshaun Watson isn't suspended. I don't
Yeah,
think. I mean, I pretty much know. Like, I haven't seen paperwork on it, but it's pretty cut and clear that the dude should have caught some games. But
right.
um, I really don't think he catches any unless if they find that gun, that's a whole different conversation.
Right. Yeah, let's continue to get those likes up in the building, man. We got a nice size in the chat. We really appreciate you guys jumping in and checking us out here on Burgers
Thank
and
y'all. Thank
Blitzes.
y'all.
We're just talking about these Cowboys and in the head. And we talked about Tyler Smith. I'm gonna give you a quick thoughts. Before let's do that, I've been wanting to talk about a few things, and I want to ask you in specific because I've been talking about this player. I've been talking him up since December. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but yeah, I might pat myself on the back on this one because I was talking about this guy in December, throwing it out there. I think you even answered this tweet when I immediately tweeted it, and it was linebacker Anthony Barr. And I said, what should the Cowboy? I said the Cowboys should look at this because I know he's 30, he's been a little injury, but the Cowboys brought him in 2014 as an initial draft pick. And when the Cowboys they have two players on their team right now. Well, they had a player. They had James Washington, who they liked in the draft, and they weren't able to draft him.
They liked him over Gallup. Yeah,
they liked him, and then they brought him back. Terrell Basham, they liked him coming out of OU when Taco came out, and they even brought him in on 30 visit. They end up signing him later on, and now they have Anthony Barr, who they brought in 2014, who is a linebacker who can play multiple positions. Obviously, he's not the player that he was before, but this is depth. Injuries can happen. We saw what happened with Jabril Cox and tearing his knee up. It's because LVE was relatively healthy. You know what I'm saying?
That hurt, man. That hurt.
That hurt.
I love that. I love that pick. I love that pick. And that kid's so far behind the 8 ball right now.
Well,
missing your rookie year is just brutal. It's just so brutal. And on the Anthony Barr thing, they are interested. Obviously, if the price is right, we saw the tweet. I mean,
should be. This should
I mean,
I think
but
this is a price that should be right.
I love the idea of Anthony Barr and Micah Parsons being in the same room.
Yeah.
Because Micah Parsons is Anthony Barr 2.0. He's upgraded, got the turbo kit, got the better brakes, the better tires. He got all of that. I love the idea of being them because Anthony Barr is a bit more of a technician than Parsons is. And then maybe he can show him some things, and Parsons is working with Haley. He's working with D Ware. He's trying everything he can to learn more how to be more proficient with his hands, which he's already a natural at. I mean, we saw the preseason game where he lined up in the A gap versus Houston, took on the double team, threw the freaking left guard into the cheap sheets, and then turned over and almost blocked Digi's stunt, but because he threw the center so far off just by resetting his hands and caught him in the hip. That stuff you can't teach. And with Anthony Barr being around him and showing him, okay, so maybe when you do that, slide this way, throw your shoulder this way, dip a little bit, feint this way. I love the idea of them being in the same room. And I don't really care what they pay him. Bring that dude in on a 1 year, $25 million deal. I'm being facetious, but you get me. I love the idea of that dude being with Parsons in that same room day in and day out and learning him game. I love it.
I mean, to me, that makes sense. This shouldn't even be an issue with the money thing. They got enough money to sign him. They need another veteran in there in that building to teach these young guys. Like you said, he's a technician now. He's 30 years old. He's familiar with the staff because that staff was over there with Minnesota. It just works. There's familiarity already in there. He has the size. He's not a little dude. He's 6'5", 255 pounds.
He's a big dude. I've met him. He's a big dude.
And he's a versatile player. And like I said, injuries can happen. And you need a veteran in there. If you're going to lose a player may get hurt in injury, God forbid, even with Mike, God forbid, you got a guy like that can come right in and play a lot of positions for you instantly right now. That's why I was talking about it back in December. It makes sense. They need to make it happen. This is a no-brainer. This is not something that should be an interest. This should be a signing.
I know how Cowboys Nation and Twitter in general loves names. They love names. This isn't a name
should work.
This is a guy that you can get in. If Catboy really wants to go to work, you can get this dude in here for under 6.4, which is their magic number. They're not signing, for anybody in the chat who's not aware, they're not signing a free agent over $6.5 million a year. Not happening, period, end of discussion. It's not happening ever again until it happens, which isn't, prove me wrong. 6.4, you can get him in here on like a 3-year deal with like 11 guaranteed. Done. Just got to do it.
Yeah, there's no. Go ahead.
You just got to do it. I mean, 3 years. Like, I know they hate players over 30. They hate them. They really, really do. They really do. But this one makes sense. This isn't Earl Thomas. This isn't the Honey Badger or whatever, or some pipe dream. This is legitimately in their pocketbook, in their alley of a signing they could make, and they may. There's a lot of smoke there I mean, I know I give Catboy a lot of hell. There's a lot of smoke there. And Anthony Barr may be a member of this team sooner than later.
I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like it's going to happen.
No promises, but there's just too much. There's too much behind it. There's too much, and you don't hear, when you're talking to people, you don't hear the caveat of, well, he wants this or he wants that. We got to make it meet, or he wants. You hear they're working on it.
Yeah.
You hear that fits, and Dan Quinn wants him with Micah, and since Dan Quinn's been here, he's pretty much got what he wants. So
he got Sam D. Williams.
Yeah, so I just that's. Please don't take me out the pasture if they don't make it happen. But I'm 70-30 on that, to be honest, bub. That he's here.
I think he's going to happen, dog. Like I said, it made sense back then to me. It's making even more sense now. It just makes sense. Like you said, Dan Quinn gets what he wants out there. He gets he's becoming the guy where when he's speaking, people are listening. Because when you bring wins, when you make a turnaround like that, you know how Dallas is. They're going to instantly start listening to you a little bit more. You know what I mean? So we
They've
seen that
always
turnaround.
Dallas for the Jones boys, for better and worse, have always empowered their coaches with personnel decisions. That's how we got Taco. That's how we got Jalen Smith. That's how we got Zeke. That's also how we got Diggs and CD Lamb. So for better and worse, they empower their coaches. And Dan Quinn, with the success he had with that defense last year, has a massive, massive voice in that room. And he wants Anthony Barr. Take that for what it's worth. If it, like, if there was some sports book that was taking, 3-1 odds or something like that, that may be some easy money. I think it's the only problem is there's teams out there with more money.
I feel like he's coming to Dallas. I just feel like it's going to happen, even with other teams liking him. I just feel like Dallas will
I would
kind of make
be.
that push this
I don't know
time
if
on this one.
yeah. I don't know if
I
it's
think they make
shocked.
that push.
I don't know if it's shocked would be the word, but maybe stunned if he goes somewhere else other than here.
Me too.
You
I
know,
just feel it. It just felt good when I
just
talked about it. It just felt good. I
there's
felt
too
good
much.
when I was talking about Robert Quinn back in the day. When he was talking about it was in the air when he was leaving the Dolphins, I instantly said, "Hey, Dallas, that's a perfect match." I kept talking about it because it just felt right, and this one feels right. And even when Everson Griffin came, when everybody kept talking about him, and then it was like, I think this might happen. I think this is like the same situation, in my opinion. And we already have a familiarity with the coaches and the players anyway. I just feel like more of it's a match. You know what I mean? So we'll go
It makes more sense than it does not, and that's
right.
usually when they make a deal.
Yeah. So
That
we'll see how that kind of goes. Now, before we kind of head out here, big dog, give me some of your thoughts on the draft picks, particularly Sam D. Williams. We've all talked about how Dan Quinn's getting his way. He said after he worked out him in his pro day, he said, "Man, I really love to coach him." Obviously, the Cowboys drafted in the second round. I had a no, I didn't have a third round. I had a fourth round grade on him. I feel like he still needs plenty work. But that's a guy, Dan Quinn, who loves to work with and take projects or take things under his wing and really get creative with them. And I think he can do this with Sam Williams. But I still think he needs some work. What's your kind of thoughts about that pick? And what do you think his trajectory is his first year?
I think he's and if he stays healthy, you're looking at maybe 3.5, 5 sacks, which is more than acceptable. I think he's got strong hands. He's super bendy, which is rare to get that late, and that's why they went with him in the first place. He's got some bend on him. He's got the wingspan. He's got the work ethic. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I wish they would trade their second round pick every year, to be honest, because they always take a flyer there via off the field or injury reasons. And Williams has got some of that out there. But I don't hate it whatsoever. My favorite pick is Ferguson, though, because that's exactly where you pick tight ends. I love that one.
I mean, I like the Ferguson pick too, but he fits the mold of the Jason Witnish type guy. That's what they love over
That's
there.
what you're that's what you're getting with, like, people have this distorted idea of what a tight end should be because you have like a Kelsey and a freaking the old Baldwin brother out there in San Francisco, the caveman, freaking what the hell is his name?
Kittles.
Yeah, Kittles. There's less of those than there are Mahomes. It's that elite level, high level blocking, catching, running tight end is harder to find than the top 5 quarterback. And people constantly overdraft. I had a tweet today, like, Kyle Pitts and Terrence Steele have the same amount of NFL touchdowns. Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards. Neat. 1,000 yards ain't shit in today's NFL. That's what, 1,000-yard rusher, whoop-de-doo. 1,000-yard wide receiver, whoop-de-doo. It's nothing, especially with the added game.
Yeah, well, like I said, I like the pick. I still feel like it fits the Jason Witnish mode. If you don't have a Dalton Schultz later on down the line, you have a cheap guy that's coming right behind him that you can use. We'll see what happens with 12 personnel. That was good for the Cowboys last year. Go ahead.
Dalton Schultz, you brought that up. I'd like a friendly reminder that Dalton Schultz is still an $11 million franchise tag, and they are not remotely close to an extended deal that would lower that cost.
Right. That's Jake. They look. I feel I'm not saying I know Stephen Jones, but I know how he thinks. I feel like in some ways, and he's always if we're always talking about the cap, he's always looking away. If you're trying to outprice yourself to replace you. So when Dalton Schultz probably was saying, "I want this money," well, they're going to tag you, and they draft Jake Ferguson. He has those traits that are kind of like his or the Witness traits, and he's a cheaper version. So if you outprice yourself, guess who's going to slide into your spot? So that's the way it is.
They can't cut him. They got to eat the tag if they cut him.
Right. So it is what
and
it is.
This team don't trade anybody.
Nope.
I'm worried about that. I think we're going to pay Dalton Schultz $11 million next year.
We'll see, man. I don't know. That would frustrate me if they throw a boatload of money at Dalton Schultz.
Let's make a friendly bet. Handshake, case of beer, whatever. Dalton Schultz is getting paid $11 million next year, and he's gone after the season.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you can't. I ain't betting that because I would agree with that. I ain't betting that because once I know. See, this is the thing. Stephen Jones is serious about that cap, folks. He is serious about it.
Catboy.
If you try to ask too much money, Baby Nuts Jones is going to say, I ain't doing that. And as soon as I seen that tag and they haven't moved anything, and then I seen how many tight ends they brought in to the 30-30 visits worked out. They had like 5 tight ends visit on their 30 visits. What does that tell you right there, dog? They're saying you're asking for too much money. We're gonna get somebody to get rid of you, and we like.
But they're not going to do anything about the money. They're just going to take that. They're just going to take that L
when they didn't have to do that. They could have just let him walk. You could have drafted that tight end you were talking about, or you could have used that money elsewhere. You feel me? But that's here. We already know how it works. You feel me?
Dalton Schultz is going to make $11 million next year for the Dallas Cowboys, and he will not be on the team in 2023.
I believe that. I can definitely see that. That would be a mistake if they gave him a big contract anyway. For real, it would.
You could lower the cap. Like you could, if you work a deal, you could work a 3-year deal and lower the cap hit on it. They're not going to do that though. No, you lower a cap hit, and you could move him if he produces. But this team refuses to trade players.
But and then I don't know if there's a crazy. I don't know if there's a crazy market for a Dalton Schultz.
There's not. But if the kid comes out next year and has 1,100, 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns, you can get a damn 4th round pick for him.
Yeah.
All day. Because you're going to have him on a cheap deal. But with the franchise tag, when he's looking for a new payday, if he produces like that, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do.
You're going to have to cut him. You don't do that. Don't. We already talked about with the Michael Gallup thing, but we saw how they
shouldn't
did
have paid Gallup. Shouldn't have paid Gallup. We know that.
But they was going to, especially got hurt. He was coming back when he got hurt. You knew that.
Yeah,
You knew that.
But
it is what it.
But, you know how I feel about wide receivers. Yeah. You don't pay wide receivers unless they're Devontae Adams or Hopkins or somebody like. You don't pay those dudes. You don't pay
your numbers. Didn't do it with Cooper
because he's not them.
I know, but they still.
He's not them. And you know what? Did they kind of get burned on that trade? And does it look stupid because Jacksonville gave $20 million for a number, or was
no,
it?
No, that don't look stupid because of that. Is this that you could have got more value? You undersold Cooper by.
They tried. They tried.
But here's the thing: you undersold Cooper because
the league knows about Cooper. The league
We know
knows
about
about Cooper.
okay, so the league knows about Cooper, but if he would have had another 80, 90 catch game, you couldn't have got more?
No, the league knows about Cooper, dude. He's been hurt guy since college.
I
He's been
know.
shrink. He's been fade last half of the season, guys, since college. The book's out. There's too much. There's too much of a sample size there to get anything more than like maybe a 3. Did was the 5 a
That's
good
what I'm
deal? Probably.
saying. You
Probably
could have
not.
listed 3 or 4.
I,
That's all
I,
I'm
I,
saying.
I'm saying that they fucked up, but the idea that people thought that, oh, we could have got, a high 1 for Cooper.
No,
No,
no. I
no,
know that. That's crazy
no,
though.
no. The league knows about that kid. He's got a plantar fasciitis issue that he refuses to address. He's got a bum ankle he refuses to address because he's scared of needles. That's also the reason not that he didn't get the jab last year. Not, I don't feel any sort of way about that, but the fact is, it cost him games, and it ruined what he had left in good graces with this team. When you show up with the same injury that you had 2 years ago, you didn't do PRP, you didn't do stem cell, you didn't try anything with all this at your disposal. You can't even practice. Your number 1 wide receiver literally can't practice because he's hurt all the time. What are they supposed to do? Are you going to trade a 3rd round pick for a wide receiver that literally never practices, especially a first? It is what it is. Like this. That's just facts. That's not how I feel about the situation. My personal opinion is I think he's a top 5 wide receiver when he's on. But when is he on?
Fair. That's fair. That's fair.
That's
I
why
can
he's not
see
here
that.
anymore. That's what it is. It had nothing to do. Dak didn't say get him out of here.
I ain't
Dak
talking
did,
about
like,
Dak, but
the
but Stephen
people try to
Jones.
put that out there. I just
Yeah,
wanted to clear the air
yeah,
on that.
but anybody who was believing that is goofy. That I mean,
So
that's not even Dak's nature.
that's the
So
reason Collins isn't here. Because Mike McCarthy, for better or worse, since he's been here, wants players that are fully in or fully out. Are you here to win? Are you doing everything in your power to make yourself a better professional athlete? And that's what he's about. And I don't even like the guy. I think he's a bad coach. I think he's terrible on game day. But that mindset is the reason that Collins is gone and Cooper's gone and Jalen Smith got cut. Tired of these front runners that smiles and handshakes and everything's going great.
yeah, I
That,
mean,
that's my
we,
rant. Sorry, Bubba.
no, I mean, like I said, we're gonna see how this all kind of plays out with this year. I still feel like it's not gonna be a disappointing year. I feel like they'll have a good record, and it's
It's a
gonna be
tough look.
disappointing again. It's gonna be
It's a
disappointing
tough look.
again. Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
disappointing again, but we'll see.
especially when you're in the NFC, when the AFC's in the nuclear arms race and the best quarterback in the NFC's like a 48-year-old Tom Brady or Dak Prescott. Like, who else in the NFC you got? Kyler Murray? Miss me with that shit. They're trying to trade that dude. They tried to trade him during the draft. I don't know, man. It's just last season really hurt because
Yeah, that's why I'm not.
that was it, man. That was a good team.
That
That
was a
was a
very
good
good
team.
team. Very good team.
That's the best team we had since maybe what was that 08?
Mm-hmm. 07.
And then we get to the playoffs and your offensive line lets up 25 pressures and your quarterback's so mentally and physically broken he can barely see straight. We were talking about it when Debo and Fred Warner came out the damn locker room with that damn ghetto blaster. I didn't even
Yeah,
want to watch the damn game anymore. I knew what was going to happen.
I knew.
I knew what was going to happen.
I mean, we all did. We talked to. I talked to my guy yesterday, DMV Fanatic. He agreed. Shout out to him about how when we talked to before we went and played the San Francisco 49ers, remember we did that live show and we both said if Dallas can get past San Francisco, this will be the best chance to get to the
They'd
Super
have
Bowl.
smacked LA. I stand by that. They would have
I mean,
smacked LA.
I believe that too. I believe they would have went in there loose. They would have had nothing to lose. They would have. I just feel like they'd have been a different team if they got past San Francisco. That was the bad matchup
San
coming
Francisco was
into
the
the
best
play.
best team in
That
the
was,
league for yet
what's up,
another
Vondell?
year, and got held back by their quarterback yet again.
Yeah.
That's what happened. San Francisco was the best team in the league last year, and I'll take that to my grave. Them dudes wanted all the smoke with whoever wanted it.
Yeah, they did. And I knew coming into Dallas it was going to be, and with the tradition, it was kind of crazy. So, we'll see. Um, but kind of your thoughts before we head out of here. Rookie camp just ended. Give me your thoughts on the rookie camp. We're getting ahead into mini camp. That's right a few weeks down the line. Kind of your thoughts on the rookies. What was your favorite pick out of the draft?
Ferguson.
What
The
was your
the
least favorite
boring the
pick?
boring the boring ass tight end. And I know I'm the guy that says drafting tight ends is stupid because it is. But on day 3, when you take a guy with that kind of upside, with steady hands, who's decent as an inside blocker, I love it. I there's It's hard to hate. When you're drafting guys on day 3, you're throwing mud at the wall and hoping something sticks. And that dude is probably going to make the team. And there's a more than likely chance he's going to be a solid contributor for the next, I don't know, half decade. And you got that on day 3. It's hard. It's really hard to hate that. It really is. I get that he's the stereotypical Jason Garrett, slow as hell, move him around God and turn around and cut. But he's got he's got some reach on him, and he's got a little bit of wiggle to him.
That's what
He's got a
everybody.
little bit.
That's what everybody's coming out saying, and I said that itself that he has wiggle. I think he's going to be a guy that can really run routes. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a studier of the game because he knows he may not have the super speed, so he's going to really know how to manipulate and route stems and route trees. I think he's going to be that type of guy, and his hands are really good. And I think that's really what you're going to get excited about more than
So
anything else is his
that's
hands.
that's what's the idea I have here is Tolbert and Gallup clearing out the top end with CD and Ferguson underneath, and see what
Right.
you can do there. That's all. But that said, Gallup ain't ready till Halloween. Y'all can be any type of optimistic you want. The dude's he'll probably play maybe week 1 of October. He ain't gonna be right till Halloween. It's just
I already said that. I wasn't. As
yeah.
soon as he got hurt, I wasn't expecting him to be even in the whole month of October. I'm thinking like,
Which is still amazing. I mean, we're old enough. I was old. Like when you blew your knee out, your career was over. It's still
right.
amazing these dudes come back in less than a year at a high level, like NFL level. That's freaking amazing. But don't put too many eggs in that basket, man. You're going to set yourself up for failure. And
Oh,
I love the idea of Jabril Cox. Hopefully, hopefully staying healthy, because he's a damn good cover linebacker. And it just sucks that he lost his rookie year because he's big time behind the 8 ball. But I'm really pulling for that kid. I really am. I really am.
so out of the draft picks this year, what was your questionable pick?
Tyler Smith.
I think that's what a lot of people are going right now. Not based on the talent. It's just he's
It's
real
just,
developmental. He's very
it's
developmental.
Now, what I don't question is I know the kid's been working his ass off since like a day
Right.
after the draft. He's been at
Yeah.
the Star. He's been with
He's been
Duke. He's
putting
been at
in.
Apex.
He's putting in the work.
That kid's been grinding.
He's been putting in
But
the work. It's a lot of
just like
development.
just like Baez, your talent is what it is. There's only so much you can do with what you have. Like
Mhm.
everybody can't be Michael Schumacher. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much you can do. You grind your ass off, but we'll see. I love that he plays angry because we don't have, they ship Collins off. I love he plays angry, so there's that. That's my biggest question mark. It doesn't mean I hate the pick. I just really, really nervous about it, if that makes any
It
sense.
makes perfect sense because to me, like I said, you got a guy that's out there not developing players that he should, and we're relying on the Duke Mayweather. So we'll have to see because that's going to have to really happen in season. What's your most surprising pick out of the drafts?
Tyler Smith.
No, go away from Tyler Smith. Give me another surprise pick.
There's really not one because I knew where they were going. I don't have one, Bubba. I really don't. I knew, like, it was pretty much set in stone. I mean, we thought the Tyler Smith thing was a joke, and once Tyler Smith got picked, we knew they were going Williams and then Tolbert. We knew. We knew there was like that's the good and bad thing.
They were going to get a corner. They were going to get a safety. You know, they were going to get a linebacker in those later rounds. That's when they were going to add up to it. Yeah, I mean, I knew once, like you said, the way Tyler Smith when he fell, it was kind of like you knew they were going because you knew they had to get Sam Williams now because somebody was going to take him. They were probably, in my opinion, where they were going to go tight end in that third round because Jelani Woods and that kid from UCLA was available, but they got taken, and then Cade Otton got taken. So I feel like they were like, well, let's.
They got sniped. They got sniped by Otton. They got sniped. But they didn't want to trade up for him, which I can't hate them for. I can't hate them for that.
But I feel like they were going tight end in that third.
They were. They were.
Mm-hmm. So when those tight ends went, they were like, well, let's go ahead and get Jalen Tolbert now because he's probably going to be gone by the fourth. You get what I'm saying? And then when the fourth came around, they're like, Jake Ferguson's there. He's probably not going to be there in the fifth, so let's get him now. You know what I mean? It's just how the board falls.
It's just I know this team. I know how Will McClay operates, and them boys they don't like a lot of panic in that room. They want to keep a steady mindset, steady game plan. They keep it because unfortunately, at the end of the day, you got like 27 more people in that room that should be there.
Right.
So there's chaos, and they want to keep things as smooth as possible, and that's what we got. And it's hard to tilt either way off how they drafted because since Garrett and Marinelli been gone, they followed their board for better and worse. And more than not, it's paid out better than it has worse by simply staying put and following your board.
Yeah.
It's panic inducing. I don't agree with it, but
well,
yes, sir.
I want to ask you this because I forgot people brought up Damone Clark. That was a good surprise pick for me because of the injury.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
So that was a great pick to me for the value, for the fifth round, for the value. I love his attitude. He got that 18 because of what he brought off the field. I think he's a great guy off the field. He's a leader, and he has the physical tools. I watched him in the Senior Bowl for what they got him. If you can, this is what I'll say about the Cowboys with this defense. If somehow, some way, it works out with Jabril Cox, Damone Clark, and Micah Parsons, yeah, you feel really good about that trio right there, dog.
It's hard to hate it. It's hard to hate it.
That's if you look at that from afar, if that works out, man, that makes you feel good because all three of those linebackers are interchangeable, explosive, can do so many things. And the defense, like I said, I want the Cowboys to move away from offense focus, Mike, to defense. That's what I've been saying forever. We've been talking about it. It's got to be defense. Defense has got to be the mantra, dog. Defense it carries. Defense wins championships. It does. It's going to carry you when the offense doesn't do it. It is.
You can't get to the postseason without your offense. If you don't have an interior,
if you ain't got no defense, but if you ain't got no defense, because guess what? Who kept Dallas in the game?
Made it all the time with no defense.
Who kept Dallas in the game in that San Francisco game? It was the defense.
Yeah, because your offensive line let up 25 pressures.
Right.
Back to what I was saying. If your IOL and IDL are the two most important things out on your game outside of the quarterback. Honest, and man, maybe even the IOL may be more important than the quarterback, because if your quarterback don't have time in the pocket and he don't know what hole the pressure's coming through this time, because people keep constantly blowing their assignments and you're playing whack-a-mole with who am I getting hit by now, your offense won't work. I don't care who you got back there. I don't care if it's Steve Young tied with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and Troy Aikman all rolled up into one. If your 5-man OL can't hold up a 4-man front, you ain't going anywhere. You ain't going to win 6 games.
Yeah, I feel you with the offensive line, but as I said before, you can get by with things. You can get by with meager quarterbacks, things of that nature. If your defense is really suspect, you're going to get exposed pretty much all year, and you ain't going no playoffs with. I mean, you are outscoring teams every week. That's just, to me, that's not rational. It just doesn't happen. You're going to have bad offensive days, but your defense can always carry you through the thick and thin. It can hold you, and like I said, it held the Cowboys down in that playoff game. Because think about it, if the Cowboys would have had maybe a good couple possessions, just a couple, they would have won that game because the defense kept you. Because
They
remember,
had a
San
good
Francisco
couple.
came. But
Yeah.
listen, the San Francisco Niners came out like gangbusters with the first touchdown. After that, Dallas shut them down.
Yeah. And then Dak would make a throw and somebody would drop it or somebody would be open and Dak would miss it. It's just like that's part of being a Dallas fan, man. That game was just a freaking comedy of errors that hurt so bad, and it really bums me out that's they people by and large, the recency bias in the NFL is insane, and that's how the Cowboys are extremely underrated coming into next season. They think that Dak Prescott's that guy who was mentally and physically broken versus San Francisco. He ain't the same dude right now. Got time to rest, get his mentals right, get his body right, get your wide receivers set up, figure out this offensive line. You got something going, man, there. Then I thought they were going to take a running back on day 2. They probably should have, but apparently they still believe in their guy, which is another conversation. But as far as the NFC is concerned, I don't I don't see how you don't make a solid push for it. And if you don't, something terrible happened and somebody's getting fired. You're
Yeah.
just there's too much there, man. The NFC's too wide open. Who you worried about in the NFC?
Nobody wasn't worried about anybody last year, even when Tampa Bay was there, because I felt like
Tampa Bay
Dallas could
wasn't
win.
a good team. They
That's what
weren't a
I'm
good
saying.
team. They weren't. San Francisco was the best team in the NFL last year. Period. I take that shit to my grave. And the year before, Tampa Bay and Green Bay had a combined 7 wins over 500 teams. And we're playing an NFC Championship game. There's no good teams in the NFC. Maybe us. We'll see. I don't think we're a good team. We've got to prove it.
Yep, we'll
Think we
see.
got think we got a good quarterback. Don't think we got a good team. I'm worried about it because as a Cowboys fan, when your offense starts working, your defense suddenly breaks, or your defense is working and your offense breaks, or your special teams is good and your offense and defense break. We can never have all 3 phases working at the same time for some god awful reason. I can't explain it. We're cursed. I guess it's rowdy. I don't know.
Yeah, we're cursed. So, but we'll see, dog. We'll see what happens. A lot of things are coming up again. I'm not really, like I said, I feel like it's going to be the same type of blah win, but underachieve like normal. And until they can get past that, until they can show me any different, that's what I'm going to believe. Now, I want to say this. Some people have got on me, say I wasn't a true fan because I jumped out there and said some things on Twitter. Just want to address that. And it just from me. I'm just addressing it from me. Look, I'm one of the truest fans out there. I've been, like I said, I've been in this over 40 years, loving my squad, but I'm not believing this foolishness. I'm not falling for it. I do feel like Dallas, I said this before, Dallas is going to win games. Dallas has talent. They are going to win games. But when it comes to them big games, when it matters the most, I feel like they're going to choke. And until they tell me any different, Last year was the time I gave it the last kind of chance in my heart to say, "Yeah, you got an offense, you got a defense, your special teams isn't that bad. You just the NFC is wide open enough where you can take it this year. Um, show some toughness. We showed that we could. I thought we were being different the way the season was playing out, winning certain games, and then it just up being the same thing. So I'm not really hearing the excuses from the Cowboys. I'm not listening to, oh, this Dallas is going to do this. No, they're not. I feel like they're going to be the same thing. They're going to win 10 to 12 games. They're going to be talented, and they're going to lose again. And until they fix whatever it is supposed to fix, I don't even know what it's supposed to fix no more. I know it is in my heart, but I'm not going to keep talking about it. But until those certain things happen, it's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be a lot of foolishness, fakeness, as far as faking us out, pump faking us out, like Dallas is going to be this top team and do all this crazy things, and it's going to crash and burn in these playoffs. Because right now, dog, it don't matter nothing else about to me no damn win NFC East or no crap like that. Don't nobody care about that, and it should be to me in Dallas land anymore. Winning the NFC East should not even be thought. That should be almost kind of assumed. It's playoff or but it's championship or bust now. Like that is really got to be the mantra because it's been too long. It's been too much talent. It's been too many things. There ain't no excuses for the shit no more, dog. There ain't no excuses why Dallas keep failing every single year. There ain't no excuse. And I'm tired of hearing the excuses. And I don't want to hear, oh, we think we're better than last year. Okay, how? So show out there and prove it. It's just the same thing. And like I said, prove it. But I don't have to believe that crap. I don't have to jump out there and say, and here's another thing. If Dallas started winning and I start sitting there and saying, hey, they're doing pretty good, I can do that. You feel me? I'm allowed to. You get what I'm saying? Because for real, anybody can be mad at this team. You got right. 26 years, you got a right to be a pessimistic about this squad. You got a right to be negative about the team. What have they done for you not to be negative?
No, and for people who don't know, I was born in Garland Hospital in 1985. I've been here my entire life. And outside, since the end of the Aikman era, outside of 99 and 2011, Dallas has been home of Choke City. We choke. We choke. Hockey, basketball, football, we get to when it matters, and we can't find our nuts.
Come on, Mavs.
Period.
Let's prove that wrong tonight. Let's prove that wrong tonight because the Mavs got past that. Now, I said the Mavs might sprinkle on that
They
for
have?
real because, hold up, the Mavs didn't get past the first round in like over 11 years, dog, and that's the first time they've done that in 11 years this year. And they're one
Okay.
game away. So that's what I'm saying.
They hand out. They hand out. They hand out
rid of their
trophies.
coach too. They got rid of
They
their
hand
coach
out.
too, and they got rid of their coach too.
They hand out trophies for the second round.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, when's the last time Dallas got out of these rounds? We talking about they could be in the Western Conference.
Dak Prescott's done it twice.
Man, Dak Prescott still got stuff to prove, big dog.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Had more playoff success this team's had since Aikman.
Right, but he's 1-3 though still.
Yeah. We want to talk about Jason Garrett taking that ball out of his hands versus Green Bay.
Well,
we want to talk about having him.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said the Mavs
can be the Choke City.
What I'm saying, the Mavs can be the stepping stone tonight, and I'm not gonna let you say that. I'm gonna say the Mavs. I've been saying Mavs is gonna shock the world tonight, and this is where if they can go ahead and do that, which I believe they will, then let's sprinkle some of that magic. Hey, you ain't getting a trophy being the Western Conference Finals, but you're taking steps. You're taking steps. You ain't taking no step when you lose in the first round. Okay, you taking a step when you get to an NFC championship, even if you lose. That's a step because that's somewhere you haven't been in a very long time. So if the Mavericks got past that first round, and since they haven't even been to the finals, that's a step in the right direction.
I think they.
So if the Cowboys get,
I know this ain't a Mavs podcast, but I think they do get it tonight because Kmart Kobe's tired. He's tired. That 37-year-old man, they're gonna pick him up every time they throw that ball on him. They'll pick him up from full court press his ass the entire game.
I'm hoping that magic. I'm hoping that sprinkle Mavs magic. Let's go, baby. Let's get to it. Like I said, those are steps, and if you can do that, those would be steps. And if the Cowboys, to me, if they got to a championship game, to me, that would still be some kind of a step because that's somewhere you haven't been in over 20-something years. So
don't
that's
disagree.
why I will look at that as a positive. But if you do the same thing you've been doing, that's not.
No, they got to do something. Hey, and if they don't do something, I don't know what the hell is going to happen with this front office. They got to. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a hell of a lot riding on this year. Like if they, let's be realistic, man. Here, if like say they don't play well, there's a realistic possibility Dak Prescott's playing on another team next year.
I mean, you know what? That's a whole nother story. We'll talk about another day. But I've been.
If we want to be real.
But that's why I said, Mike, the new face of the franchise.
That shit's terrifying. That's
why I said the new face of the franchise is Michael Parsons. You know why? Because he's only because he's coming to a second year. Dak's in his sixth. They've already renegotiated. I mean, they've already not renegotiated, but they've already what they do when they do the money. They push it back and
it's a restructure. It's already figured in it's already figured in the contract.
But they restructure it. But all I'm saying, Dak ain't got that much time left, in my opinion. He's got to do something soon, or I don't think he's going to be here too much longer. That's just me. I just been feeling that. He's 6 years in, and with that contract, with Stephen Jones crying, and if they don't win, and I feel like the setup is happening.
The only fucking reason they have a chance, too. That's hilarious. It's just I get you. I understand what you're saying. I get it. But he's also the only fucking reason they have a chance.
I know. we know what Baby Nuss Jones is thinking about that money, though, and that's what it is.
At the end, when you're paying the quarter, when they don't sign Anthony Barr, mark my words, he's going to blame the quarterback. We know it. We know it. When you're at the end of the day, when you're paying a quarterback that much money, there's hard decisions you got to make, and you only got so much pie. Old turkey neck bastard.
Yeah. Well, hey man, we're gonna get up out of here, man. You see his handle? That's Mike White, Burgers and Blitzes. We was back in the building.
Thank y'all for hanging out.
Really appreciate you jumping on here, dog. We've been going back and forth. It's cool. I kind of like it like this, where we don't talk for a while. And
a little spicy there. I loved it. It was good stuff.
And go hard in the paint. But for everybody who want to check him out, go look on his Twitter. That's the Twitter handle, what you can see right there that he's been having on the show. Make sure you check him out. He's going to be doing this thing. And, always check out his Twitter. He's always got good, interesting things to talk about on this Cowboy and other subjects in general. But, man, I appreciate you, dog. As soon as I say bye, I'm getting off here as well. So for my dog, Mike White, myself, Big Game James, Burgers and Blitzes, we back at it again. We'll talk to you soon, man. We out. Peace.
Thank y'all. Love you. Love you, Bubba.
Peace. Love you too. I'm out of here, y'all. We'll be talking to you soon. Burgers and Blitzes, we out.